Welcome back to Egan Brooks' Psychology channel. Today we're going to be talking about porn. Now this is something that had a massive influence in my journey. It led to a lot of shame and insecurity as a man, and a big part of my self-development journey was removing porn, but understanding why it was there and why I continued to play out these behaviours where I seeked out porn to escape these deep-seated fears. But today we're going to get into a bit of the psychology of porn, how it affects relationships, and also why the cycle continues for men especially, because that dynamic plays out massively and I can personally relate to it a lot. So we're going to begin with a simple understanding of how it can affect our relationship. So the first thing is consumption of porn. Now, not only is it going to change our expectations of a relationship, especially when young people are being exposed to porn before they even are engaged in sexual relations, they're being exposed to their first viewing of a sexual, intimate relationship. And for me, it was years and years of watching things before I was even engaged in it myself. It had created all of these expectations, and a lot of them are subconscious, and it's not like the individual, the man, is wanting to think and believe these things, but unfortunately it has corrupted our innocence and changed our beliefs. So some of the beliefs it starts to create subconsciously are women serve me, and that's a common one where unfortunately men, and the way the porn dynamic plays out is that women are often in service to men through the performance of porn, and therefore this starts to get ingrained in the male identity and psyche, and that's what they start to believe sex is for. It's for men, and also a performance. And now men put a lot of pressure on themselves to be these big alpha male performers, and it comes from a lot of insecurity. They're trying to prove something. It's not about an emotional connection, it's about proving that they are the man, and that is unfortunately what a lot of men suffer with. Another thing is it doesn't matter. A lot of men invalidate that porn is insignificant and it doesn't matter, it's just something that they do to get a release. But unfortunately, it has such a deep-seated effect on their beliefs about their masculinity, and it shows up as problems in the relationship. Unfortunately, we might not be able to see this to the eye, but it changes our perception of women, other men, and ourselves, and also society. One of the most obvious things in a relationship is comparison. Subconsciously, we are now comparing our relationship with our partner and our sex with this perfect product of sex where the woman is in service to the man, so that's only creating unrealistic pressures for the woman in a relationship, which then also starts to bring resentment. Why is my partner like this? And because subconsciously you are comparing to this person who is just in service to a man, and that starts to filter into the belief system of a man. And of course, the novelty of finding another woman becomes so much more appealing, and the man has no integrity or belief or understanding of why he is doing these things in the first place. And the problem is this thing accumulates more over time because the cycle deepens, and we're going to talk about the shame cycle here for men. A lot of men, and this was my journey, you use porn as an escape because it releases a lot of chemicals in the brain, especially ones that you'd hear about, which are dopamine, and it takes away and it numbs this feeling of loneliness, anxiousness, and it gives us that short-term comfort, which also starts to create a cycle where we avoid difficult emotions such as feeling insecure as a man, not feeling confident in who we are. We start to use porn as a crutch and an escape. And then this cycle just keeps repeating because it gives us this short-term guarantee of a dopamine hit. We keep going back to it, and we might feel a bit shameful about using it and we feel a bit guilty, but unfortunately our brain is able to change the way we speak to ourselves, and we create an excuse as to why it serves a purpose. And because of this thing called dissonance, we actually are changing our beliefs on a subconscious level, and we start to excuse our behavior. We start to believe it. Like I said, it doesn't matter and it's fine, it's okay, and we ignore and deny the effect it has on us. Now this cycle keeps continuing, and men are going to use porn as an escape, especially when there are relationship issues and the man is feeling quite insecure in himself and the relationship. Porn is this great escape. There is no drama, it's just the man gets the dopamine hit, he gets the perfect escape, and it starts to strengthen this relationship where he doesn't want to bring up issues to the relationship. Now porn is the perfect escape. He can just, unfortunately, a lot of men are scared to speak about their emotions. There's a lot of fear about speaking about things like your insecurities. So of course, men are not going to talk about this, they're going to suppress this, and then they're going to use porn as the perfect escape. Tell themselves it doesn't matter, but ultimately they're running away from the fears that they have inside. And I know this because I was the perfect case example of this. I told myself it didn't matter. I told myself, who cares? That's just what men do. All my friends do it, even though no one speaks about it really, but we all knew it was something that was done. And we run away from our fears and our greatest opportunities to become better, stronger individuals and show up with that healthy masculinity and provide a strong male imprint on a relationship. This cycle starts to deepen. Not only do we create this escape cycle where it's a drug, it's an addiction, our tolerance starts to build up, so we need more and more stimulus. And this plays out in the relationship where we need more and more to top that level of novelty that we experience. So we're going to need rougher, more crazy, egotistical style performance in sex. Unfortunately, it's not about the emotional connection. It's about serving and soothing the ego of the man rather than creating this emotional connection with your partner, because it all stems from a male insecurity. Now, all of this sort of keeps playing out over time. The male becomes more and more insecure. He uses porn as an escape. There ends up being resentment in the relationship because the woman is experiencing the effect of the man not able to be strong in his masculinity. And also the man starts to subconsciously create resentment for the woman because she is not living up to his expectation. But unfortunately, he does not realize that he is the main reason there is resentment there in the first place. So he puts the blame onto her. Why don't you do this? Why aren't you good enough? And then unfortunately, the woman can internalize that. She doesn't feel good about herself. He can't step into his strong masculine. So she creates this fragile relationship with her feminine energy. She can't soften into her feminine energy because the man doesn't have the confidence or the security. And unfortunately, over time, these beliefs just get ingrained further and further down because of time and conditioning and repetition. So where does the cycle break? It is when the man can identify the pattern keeps playing out, or the woman can identify I can feel this having a negative effect in our relationship. It's, can you notice the pattern and how it is playing out? And also question why you're doing it in the first place. Now, this episode is not designed to give problem solving, but it's to help us understand why this cycle keeps continuing and why it is problematic. So I hope this basic introduction to porn psychology has been useful. And if you want more, make sure to comment below and we'll get more into the psychology of how to overcome it and how to implement some practical tools, because it's important to be aware of this being a problem and affecting not only our personal relationships, but our confidence as a man and our ability to show up as that strong masculine person. So if you enjoyed this episode and you learned something useful, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode.